Hello YouTube, and welcome to this new mini-series where I'm documenting the second garden room build I've undertaken. I won't be doing a time-lapse of this build as I'm trying to get through as much as possible as quickly as I can, but I will briefly talk about what I'm doing and document the progress as I go along. So on day one we've cleared the site and started marking out where the concrete blocks will go that will carry the frame. I've been able to utilise some of the pre-existing concrete base from the old brick building which was here, but as we're increasing the overall footprint, I've dug some additional holes which I've filled with compacted MOT and 12 to 15 centimetres of concrete to create a firm base for these blocks. I started laying the blocks at the end of day one and finished this process on day two. As you can see, I start off with one block towards the left of the building, and by the time I get to the right elevation, I actually go up to 3 blocks high. I used quick setting cement for this so that I can try and get on with the build as quick as possible with minimal time needed to allow the mortar to go off. As I'm on quite a steep slope towards the back of the building, I used some shuttering and filled it with some more quick-set concrete so that I had a nice level pad in order to then fix and mortar the next set of block piers too. Now for the subfloor, I've used 2x4 timbers for the framing. Normally you would use 2x5s or even something slightly thicker for the floor, but as we're trying to maximise the internal height and keep the external height within the limits for permitted development, I've used 2x4s with 400 spacings between them and a centre support joist down the middle, with block piers roughly every 1.2 metres through the middle and less than a metre on the sides. So with this type of distance and spacing and supports, 2x4s are more than adequate to take the weight of the building. I've used 200mm screws to go around and fix all of the joists in place, and then gone around and used mini joist hangers and twist nails to fully secure everything in place. The screws really just help keep everything together, but the twist nails in combination with the brackets are really what are going to support all of the weight of this. I built the floor in 2 sections and used some large coach bolts with some timber connectors to join the 2 floors together. And once all of this was done and tightened up, the floor was completely solid and as if it was in one piece. Next, I added some damp-proof course on top of all of the blocks to prevent any moisture from coming up through the ground, the blocks, and into the frame. I've added some weed membrane under the building to stop any nasties from coming up into the floor, and I've also gone round and used some concrete screws and right angle brackets and fixed each block to the frame. And I used a combination of screws and twist nails here to attach the brackets to the frame. And now everything is solid, square, level, not moving anywhere, there's no flex in the frame, and we're good to start proceeding with the next step of the subfloor. So I've added 75mm jab floor insulation to the floor. You'll notice that I've done about 2/3 of the floor. That's because on the right hand side we're going to have a shed, so there's no need to insulate. As the insulation isn't foil backed, I've added the vapour barrier and then gone ahead and added the OSB. So that concludes the first part of this video where I've gone through the subfloor construction. In the next video we will move on to the walls. So look forward to seeing you there. Thanks again for liking, subscribing, and see you in the next one.